to trust in Jesus and to take Him at His word, just to rest upon His promise, and to know thus saith the Lord. Jesus, Jesus, how I trust Him, how I prove Him more and more. Jesus, Jesus, precious Jesus, oh, for grace to trust Him more. Oh, how sweet to trust in Jesus, just to trust His cleansing blood, and in simple faith to plunge me beneath the healing, cleansing flood. Jesus, Jesus, how I trust Him, how I prove Him more and more. Jesus, Jesus, precious Jesus, oh, for grace to trust Him more. Jesus, Jesus, precious Jesus, oh, for grace to trust Him more.
She's a quadruple gold medalist in the 2011 World Special Olympics Summer Games in Athens, Greece. Multiple medalist in the 2010 Special Olympics Canada Summer Games in London, Ontario. Quest for Gold Award recipient for swimmers with a disability. Gold medalist 2006 Canadian Trials for World Paralympic Swimming Championships. Gold medalist 2007 Pan American Games Swimming Trials. Triple I could go on and on and on. So without further ado, I would like to welcome Megan Michi. She's here with her mom and her boyfriend, Patrick. Thank you, Megan. Come on up.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Megan Michi. Thank you very much for the opportunity to share my story with you today. Firstly, I am 23 years old, and I was diagnosed with Prader-Willi Syndrome when I was 11 months old. I don't have to describe to everyone in the room what it is like to have Prader-Willi Syndrome because you live it every day. As you would expect, the cupboards and fridge are locked at home all the time. This can make it very tough for my baby brother, Connor. He is 19 years old, 6 feet 4 inches tall, weighs 170 pounds, and likes to eat 24 hours a day, like most teenage boys. He has his own key to the locks, so he gets by okay. Sometimes he forgets to lock the cupboards, as I watch pretty closely to see if he forgets to lock them. You all know what that means. Mom and Dad are not very happy when he does not lock them back up. When my parents found out I had Prader-Willi Syndrome, they made sure that I was given every opportunity to be the best that I can be. I would like to identify a few of the strategies they used with me from a very early age. Firstly, we always followed a healthy diet, a nutritious diet. I never got second helpings, and desserts were a special treat. My parents included exercise as part of our daily routine. They enrolled me in swimming lessons. They even arranged for some private lessons so that I could have some individual help with the skills that I struggled with. They taught me two very important lessons. One, that if you were going to do something, then you had better do it with 100% effort. And two, the biggest failure is not to try. John F. Kennedy may have been the first guy to say that, but I can tell you that my mom lives, eats, and breathes that thought. It is not about just trying. It is about trying over and over and over and over again, and never giving up. Not many of you know my mom, Ann Merklinger. She was a high-performance athlete in swimming and curling, and she is the most competitive person I have ever met. She strives for excellence in everything she does. Can't is a 4-letter word in our house. Mom sets a pretty high standard for her family on pretty much everything. My parents have told me that the doctor said that I would never ride a bike. There was no way that that was going to be acceptable for Mom and Dad, or, as it turned out, for me either. I recall the summer that I finally learned to ride a bike. I was 8 years old. Night after night, my mom or dad would run down the hill in front of our house, hanging onto a big pole that my dad had built onto my bike so I didn't fall. After about 2 months, I finally did it. That was one of many milestones that some people with Prader-Willi Syndrome have not accomplished. I think I am pretty determined, and this helped me accomplish one of these goals. Everyone knows people with PWS have poor coordination and weak muscle tone. As a child, there were lots of activities I could not do very well. I played soccer and t-ball. It was not a lot of fun. I was not very good at these activities, but in the water, I did just okay. The best thing my parents did was register me with Go King for Swim Club in their pre-competitive swimming program when I was 10. I started out going to 3 or 4 workouts a week. Most of the kids were younger than me, and I got my butt kicked day in and day out. That really didn't matter because swimming allowed me to measure my progress based on how I did, not where I ranked compared to everyone else. There would be meets when I would be lapped in a 400-meter race, but I didn't care. I was focused on getting a best time. But sometimes they had a hard time understanding. My teammates were pretty supportive most of the time, but sometimes they had a hard time understanding my special needs. When they weren't looking, I would raid their snack bags, and that was tough for them to deal with. Most of the time, I kind of just did my own thing, and that kind of seemed to work just fine. I didn't have a ton of friends in the club, but at least they tolerated me. My coach, Jason Allen, has been a gift from heaven. He has coached me since I was 10 years old and knows me as well as my mom and dad. He helped my teammates understand what made me tick and has helped me create the environment for me to be successful. Soon after I joined Go King for Swim Club, my parents brought me to the Ottawa Special Olympics Swim Club. Wow! I soon realized that I was with a group of people who accepted me for who I was. They didn't judge me because I had some unusual behaviors, because they probably did too. We were all there to improve our skills, get fitter, and pursue the Special Olympics oath of, let me win, but if I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt. I was fortunate over the next few years because I had 2 paths to follow. One in Special Olympics swimming and one in para swimming. I guess I am a bit of an oddball because I am classified as both a para swimmer for swimmers with physical disabilities and a Special Olympics swimmer for people with intellectual disabilities. Whatever, I just love to swim and I don't care what category I compete in. Gradually, I increased my training to the point that I am now doing doing 9 2-hour workouts in the water and 3 1-hour dryland workouts every week. There are not many Special Olympic swimmers that train as hard as I do. I have had the privilege of being selected to many big and international teams. The 2005 Canada Summer Games was my first big major national competition. In 2006, I went to my first Canadian Special Olympic Summer Games in Brandon, Ontario. I will never forget the moment I walked into the stadium for the opening ceremonies. I get goosebumps thinking about it right now. It was a great week. I met so many friends, and I still connect with them today. I swam well, winning 4 medals. On the para-swimming side last year, I represented Ontario again in the 2009 Canada Summer Games hosted in PEI. I won 2 silvers and 1 bronze medal. An early highlight of my para-swimming career was when I earned a spot on the 2009 World Championship team being hosted in Rio de Janeiro. This was my first selection to a big-time Canadian team. I had a problem, though. I was scheduled for major back surgery on October 1st. I had severe scoliosis, another symptom of Prader-Willi Syndrome, and I could not delay the surgery any longer. I had to decline my nomination to the world team and get the surgery done. After a 9-hour operation, 3 days in intensive care, and a week in the hospital, I headed home with 2-foot-long titanium rods in my back. I was a little bit taller, so that was the upside. I was not able to train for 6 months, and my swimming career was in jeopardy. I pretty much had to start my swimming career over from scratch. Little by little, I increased my training and found a way that I could get fitter and stronger. For a long time, I could not dive off the blocks or do flip turns, but I did not give up. I learned a new way to do breaststroke because my previous method involved some arching of the back. The rods won't let me arch my back, so I had no choice but to figure out a new way to go fast. I started to see a personal trainer who really helped me improve my core strength. It has taken 3 years to get back to the point that I am swimming as fast as I did before the surgery. But I am back and now getting best times. The highlight of my swimming career was competing in the 2011 World Special Olympic Summer Games in Athens, Greece. It was a challenging trip for someone with PWS. We arrived in Athens after an overnight flight. Then we hopped on an overnight ferry to an island near Greece, where we were hosted for a couple of days. There were 300 of us on the ferry, but only enough beds to sleep 50. The floor was pretty hard, to say the least. There was food galore, and I had a hard time. It is pretty easy to put weight on quickly when you're in that kind of environment. I still managed to swim well in the World Championships, even if I was a few pounds heavier. In Athens, I won 4 gold medals for Canada, and it was a thrill of a lifetime. I have also competed for Canada in the Para-Pan Am Games and the World Global Games for athletes with intellectual disabilities. I really enjoy Special Olympics. This past year, I joined a cross-country ski program. I train every Sunday with the ski team. I also go to swimming every Sunday afternoon with our local Special Olympics club. I have been coaching some of the other Special Olympians in the club, and this has been great fun. The coaches tell me I am a good role model for the other athletes. I hope to be able to represent Canada in the future World Special Olympics Games, either in swimming or cross-country skiing. Sport has been the salvation for both me and my parents. It has helped me manage my weight and builds my confidence and self-esteem. I have lots of hobbies outside of my athletic activities. I love to watch movies, especially horror movies and action films. I love jigsaw puzzles, Sudoku puzzles, and reading. School is a challenge for people with PWS. I had a lot of support in school, and I did pretty well. In public school, I had a teacher's assistant who helped control the school environment for me and my schoolmates. I was as determined in my academic studies as I am in swimming. I graduated from high school at the same time as my age group. I was in the general program, graduated with an honors certificate, and even got a scholarship for college. I was accepted into a one-year program at Algonquin College in office administration. The college allowed me to spread the program over 2 years. This allowed me to manage the workload and still continue swimming. After finishing the office administration certificate, I applied for an office administration legal diploma. Applicants had to have a 75% average in the general office administration general program in order to get accepted. I met this standard and was accepted. Again, I spread the one-year program over 2 years and got my diploma. I graduated from Algonquin College in the spring of 2011. It was a very proud moment. One of my biggest challenges is finding a job with an employer that understands my disorder and can create the kind of working environment in which I can succeed. In 2011, I got a summer job with the Statistics Canada doing database entry. It started out a bit rocky. I worked in a cubicle in an office building that had more than 200 cubicles on my floor alone. Just think about that for a second. There were at least 200 lunches that I had access to at any given time. StatsCan, at least, allowed me to do the database entry as a teleworker. This was perfect. Since then, I have done some part-time database entry for Special Olympics Canada, but I would like to work more often. I don't think there are many jobs like this, so I have a challenge ahead of me to find the right fit. Keep me in mind if you know of anyone who needs a great database clerk. I have my office set up at home. I am a quick learner and I won't let you down. I had another challenge last year when I was told I had to have major bowel surgery. My poor muscle tone caused my bowels to not work properly. There was no surgeon in Ottawa that could do it, so we connected with a specialist in Toronto, and this past December, he reconstructed my bowels. The surgery was successful. I will never forget the day after the surgery when I woke up and had this huge stomach, a stomach full of air and fluids. It was so uncomfortable. I remember thinking to myself that I could never let my stomach get this big again. The doctor told me that in order to get my stomach back to normal, I needed to walk. For the next 3 days, my mom and I did lap after lap around the floor with my IV bag in tow. The nurses and doctors said that they had never seen anyone walk as much as I did. I am back to normal. The walking paid off. My bowels work perfectly. Some advice for the parents in the room. It is real hard to have PWS. I wish it was different. I wish I didn't have it, but it is what it is. I try my best, and so do your kids. My parents get upset when I mess up. I have the odd meltdown, and sometimes we end up arguing, That is not pretty. But this is happening less and less, so that is good news. I have the most success when there is a lot of structure and routine. When I know what the meal schedules are like for the day, all of the things that would not surprise you. I work really hard to keep my weight at the right range. I get on the scale every morning. That helps me keep everything in check. If it starts to creep up, I need to change my diet. I change it by reducing the amount of bread and desserts and try to eat more fruit and vegetables. I have learned that the only way to lose weight is to do it gradually. But that is the same for everyone, whether you have PWS or not. A year ago, I met a really special guy. His name is Patrick. He is here with me today. Patrick understands PWS and works really hard to help me control my craving for food. I feel so fortunate and lucky to have met this wonderful guy. He is so caring, loving, kind, and supportive. I'm entering a new chapter in my life. My parents bought a new home that we move into next month. I have my own little suite upstairs in the loft that I will share with Patrick, who is moving in with me. Who knows, maybe in the future we can share our own place. The biggest failure is not to try. And I know that if I try hard enough and not give up, there will be an element of success in whatever I attempt. Thank you so much for listening.